broadcast. All right, this is group 7, lesson 13. All right. So, did you guys complete the chart? And that was kind of helpful for me to try and keep things straight, that chart in part 1.
Yes.
No, but I was kind of doing it on my own, so I didn't necessarily add it to this lesson because that's where I'm confused of like all the different,
Yeah. It was
codes
it was
and
nice to put it all in one thing to say, oh, okay, this is the null and alternative hypothesis for a one mean sigma known. So I think for this lesson, one of the important things to remember is, like, if they say, does it meet the requirements? It has to be a simple random sample. And then you have to evaluate the sample sizes from each group and see if they're normal. So that was something that I hadn't caught the first time.
it's a
But
lot of details.
yeah. So okay, let's go into part 2. Independent samples. One of the professors at BYU Idaho Math Department collected data from BYU Idaho students to compare the mean wages of BYU Idaho male students to BYU female students. The students from his classes completed a survey, which he then used to analyze if there's a difference in these wages. And they want us to use the file class survey data, which I haven't pulled up yet. I guess I better do that. Okay. Sorry, getting there. So if we go down to question 1, it said, what is the research question? So they're going to ask us if we understand what they're trying to do
So we're trying to
here.
find out if there's a difference between male and female, the wages of male versus female.
Yep. And then said state the null and alternative hypothesis. So if we look at that chart we created,
Then you
the
get
null.
the
Go
null
ahead.
is mean 1 equals mean 2. That means that there's no difference in the salary. And
Yeah.
the alternate is that there is a difference, and so it'll be mean 1 of, or the mean of 1 does not equal the mean of 2.
Yeah. Agree. So, okay. Then on number 2, it says describe the data collection procedures.
Well, it sounds like somebody just went out and asked a bunch of people.
Yeah, well,
Very
it
random.
says that
It's a survey.
it says that one of the professors collected data from BYU Idaho students. So, yeah. It sounds like he collected, it said the students from his classes completed a survey, which he used. So, I don't know, is that considered random?
I don't think it's well, it's random to a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking is somewhat random.
Is it got to have a bunch of people.
You're right. Right, so. Okay. Sorry, I'm still trying to pull that up. My dog just laid on my paper. Hey, dog, get off. Okay. Class survey. All right, it's finally pulling it up. So then we go on to question 3. Then it says, in a short paragraph, use the summary statistics to describe the data. After the paragraph, insert an appropriate and well-labeled graph. So do you guys have SBS? Do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, I don't have stuff on this.
I have it, but I'm not confident in my.
Okay. Well, I will share it and then talk through, because I know some of the stuff it won't show, which is fun. But class survey. Okay. So you can see it now. So first thing, we go up to that transform.
And then we go to the
automatic.
Yeah. Okay. And the thing that we're going to rename is the gender, because that's what we want. That's the variable that we want.
That's the sorting factor.
Distinguish. Exactly. Gender code. So I don't know if you can see that automatic recode,
Yeah.
but I just
I
called
named
it
mine
gender code.
who.
Who?
Well, because I
like
kept
it.
messing it up, and then it was like that one's already used. And I'm like,
That's funny. As long as you remember, right? Okay, so then we hit OK. We'll pull test. Maybe. Yeah, it says female is 1, male is 2. And then I'm just trying to. Oh, okay. That was something else. Okay. So then we go to analyze up there, and they want to know the mean summary. You can either get this by doing the descriptive statistics, or you can go to compare means and go down to independent samples t-test. And we want to know the test variable is going to be the wages, because that's what we want to know if there's a difference. And then it says grouping variable will be that.
Hey guys.
Who. Hey, how are you, Eduardo?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. So we're on question 3. Yeah.
On the group.
so they have on the answer sheet an N of, I'm sorry, I'm jumping a little ahead, of 88, but that's not on my t-test. But
No, it wasn't on mine either.
But I wonder if that's a typo.
I was wondering the same thing, because the other
Because the
N was
deviation
95.
standard matches, and so does the mean.
Right. I got the same. I was confused the same way. I just put a question mark because I was like,
See, it's things
that's
like this
not
that make me question what I'm doing.
right.
And
Right.
I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right. I'm with you. I was a little frustrated with that one too. Okay. All right. So then you hit OK, and it pulls up that t-test statistics. On the top one, we see the male mean was 11.935. That's what we labeled group 2. Group 1 was female, so we'll do there first. Female mean was 9.759. Standard deviation was 3.169.
And then number was 95, right?
Well, that's what they told us the answer was, but if you look at this, it says it's 91.
It's 91. That's what. Okay.
I'm a little confused on that, so yeah, I wouldn't
But everything
worry.
else matches it, so it must be a typo.
It's got to be a typo. I'm not sure where they.
Where's our TA when we need her? Or him?
Right.
Exactly. Okay.
Well, that's like someone. Okay, so I just have to say, someone on Facebook was like, "So, what kind of instructor should I like? Which instructor do you recommend?" And I'm like, "You don't ever talk to them. It doesn't matter. Pick a good
Right.
group.
Right. Forget
Forget the instructor. Make sure your group knows what you're doing."
Although when I've contacted her and asked her questions, she's responded pretty quickly. The instructor does.
The
So
instructions, yes.
yeah.
I love that you're the voice of our group. Yeah. Stacey will ask.
I know. Well, there was one thing I ran into because I did the homework today, and I was like, "Okay, oh, you know what? We ran into it last week. Remember how it said find the margin of error?"
Margin of error,
And so,
yeah.
and we
But
used the
didn't get the-
formula,
And
right?
I had to do the thing. I went backwards on the same thing, the same way we did it last week in the group thing.
Right. Well, I did.
The other one wasn't.
Yeah. It wasn't right. So I just found it the way we did it last week, and then I wrote her a question and said, "Okay, why isn't this formula working if it's supposed to?" So I haven't gotten a response yet because it was this afternoon. So we'll see what she says. I'll forward it to you guys.
Yeah, because I had the same thing. I went through it backwards.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. How come this doesn't work?
Right. Right. I had the same question. So, all right, we'll move on to 4. It says with the information, what type of hypothesis test is appropriate? And so,
Well, it's a uh,
so they want us to look at the data that they give us, and
well, it's
because
an independent samples hypothesis test because they're independent. Doesn't matter what one does to the other.
right, what males they select in the study doesn't determine which females are selected, so they're independent of each other. And so
we have to do that last one.
yeah, the independent sample. B says, are the requirements met for this test? Explain.
Well,
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
no, you go
You
ahead.
face the same problem. You just got this random group of people, so you really don't know if it's random, you know. But you got to
Yeah.
Well, because we're getting the data from them, we have to trust it is.
Well, this is what's funny. So if you look at each group, the female group and the male group, the sample size is large enough that we know it's normal. But what I thought, my initial response is, yeah, it seems like it's random. But when I looked it up, it said, no, it was just his classes. But we'll just go on and assume it is anyway. That's what it said. I was like, I hate that. Why do we care then about requirements?
Yeah.
It just said be more cautious of the answer because it's not as random as you think it was. But anyway, I was like, okay,
I
whatever.
think that's just for us to know, like, let's face it, we're never going to use this information in the real world.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Well, maybe what they're saying is when you do a study, make sure it's a very simple random sample.
That you venture beyond your classroom.
Right. So then it says compute the test statistic, which if you did that, analyze, compare means, independent samples t-test. We always want to use that bottom row.
Variance is not assumed.
Yeah. So what, Carrie, what's the t-test that you got?
I got a negative 1.836.
Yeah. And that's the answer they gave, but because they didn't tell us which way to calculate the differences.
It could be either way.
Yeah. So degrees of freedom, just right there by the
I got
T.
a 98 point. Do we round it to 2 or 3?
Do it to 3 unless they tell us differently.
Okay, I got 98.263.
Yep. And then the p-value.
Can I just say I'm always amazed that I get because
I
I'm
know.
like, huh? Like every homework quiz, like all of them, I'm like, these are weird numbers. And then I hit submit and I'm like, oh, it worked.
I know. I do the same thing. I kind of cringe, like, great, I'm going to have to redo 5 questions.
Either
and then
I rocked it or I completely bombed it.
Right. So if we look down at the p-value, it's under that sig 2-tailed, and because we wanted to know if they were different from each other, we used the 2-tailed, so it's 0.069. They want us to compare it to alpha, so our p-value is greater than the 0.05. And so
Then we fail, right?
yeah, we fail to reject, null hypothesis. And then they want us to say it in an English statement. So
I thought you were going to say an English accent.
Yeah, that'd be fun, actually.
Sorry.
You could do it for us, Carrie.
I'm not really
or
good.
no, you can. It says because of insufficient data, the true mean difference between male and female wages is not significant enough to reject the null hypothesis or whatever. And then they were trying to teach us this time on H just to look at the confidence level, because sometimes you can determine whether or not. So they said rather than testing a hypothesis, now you see we just wanted to estimate the difference between female and male wages at the 95% confidence level, create a confidence interval. So if you just scroll over, you'll see the confidence interval is negative 4.52858.
Uh-huh.
And 0.17.
Oh, we lost Chris because it's saying she's trying to join us again.
Should I invite her back in? Oh, there she is. Is she back in?
Chris, are you back in? Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
You're fine. No, you're fine.
Oh, her mute. It says her microphone's off.
Chris, if you can hear us, we can't hear you. Your microphone's off. Okay. So what they're saying is, if you look at that confidence interval, and if 0 falls in the middle of that level, that chances are there's not going to be a big enough difference, a significant difference in the means. And so you can almost look and say, if 0 falls in there, chances are we're going to reject, or we're going to fail to reject the null hypothesis because it's not significant enough. And then it said, what action would you
hold
take?
on, I'm reading that, but I'm not, okay, it's not making sense to me. Where, because 0 is included where?
Okay, in that
because it's cents, not like a dollar amount, like 0.17.
Well,
is that what they're talking about?
So what they're saying is, so if you look at that, remember when you make a confidence level, so the upper bounds and that lower bound, that range.
Right. It's the area underneath the bell, right?
Well, sort of. What it's saying is we're pretty confident that the true mean of what we're trying to find is in that level, within those boundaries. And so what they're saying, if 0 is in those boundaries, chances are that there's not going to be a big enough difference between the two factors so the P level is going to be too great. And so
is that because we go from a negative to a positive number and 0 falls in between that? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're saying if 0, no, you're fine.
Number line?
They're just saying if 0 falls within that confidence interval, then that there's not going to be, chances are there's not going to be significant evidence that there's a difference between those two wages.
Gotcha.
So they're just saying you could look at that confidence interval and kind of make a little bit of a guess before you ever do a hypothesis test that whether or not there's going to be a difference. And then it just says, take action in short paragraph, describe the action you feel should be taken based on the statistical rules above. I don't know. This one's just whatever you think. Hey, Chris, you're back. We can hear you.
Can you hear it okay?
Not really.
I'll just
We see you're there, but we can't understand you very well.
Okay, I'll just be quiet.
No, we need you. All right, so that was our thing. Let's go over to the quiz.
We're going to war, guys.
What was that, Eduardo?
We are going to war right now.
That's right. Okay. All right, group meeting quiz. Here we go. Come on, open up. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Take care of your first 2 questions.
What are the hardest questions of the quiz, man?
Say that again.
Those are the hardest questions.
I know. That's stress.
Yeah, but those are the 2 that I always get right.
All right, so question 3. What requirements must be checked when conducting a hypothesis test comparing 2 means with independent samples? Mark all that apply. Well, we just had that in our answer thing. They need Data are a simple and random sample from the population. The
Yep.
distribution sample means from each group is normal. So we need those two answers.
Okay. Okay, simple random sample. So question 1. And
And the distribution of sample means from each group is normal.
yeah, the mean is
So
normally
that'd be the-
distributed.
So that's A and B, right?
Yep.
Correct. Yep. Okay. Okay, the test statistic for a hypothesis test comparing two means with independent samples is a.
Isn't that a T-score?
It is. It's a T-score. I like F statistic. That's cool.
I'm sure some people think of that as something else.
That's right. All
Sorry.
right. No, that's funny.
Inappropriate. Okay, two samples are independent if knowing which subjects will be in group 1 determines which no. They're knowing which subjects will be in group 1 tells you nothing about which subjects will be in group 2. So it's B.
Yep.
I agree.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, now we need to open dentist office bills.
Okay, dentist office
I actually
bills.
have that file. Oh, here we go. Dentist office.
Come on, open up. I don't know about you guys, but mine takes forever to open up.
Sometimes it does, especially coming from that thingy-majig. So it only has 2 variables.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
it
let's
has
see what
city
happens.
and dentist bill.
Okay. Well, let's see what it says. For the next 6 questions, use that. This data represents a simple random sample. Okay, there's one requirement of dental bills at a dentist office in Idaho Falls and a dentist office in Rexburg. So there's our 2.
Oh.
Let's.
Well, what I
Go
meant
ahead.
was in the sample, it had like pull all this extra data, like
Yeah,
when you're trying to like, which one do I want?
I know. Okay, so it says let mean 1 or group 1 be Idaho Falls office, okay? And let group 2 be the Rexburg office, okay? Perform a hypothesis test to determine if the mean bill at the Idaho Falls office is less than the mean bill at the Rexburg office, which means we have the null hypothesis of, okay, we don't see that. Use significant level. Okay, so go into there, dentist office.
So under the automatic recode, the bill is going to be our variable, right? That
The city will be, those are our 2 different variables. Okay.
I don't know why we have to add a new name. I think that just makes it annoying.
Well, so here's why you add a new name. Like when you do other things, so when you go into analyze, and here they have it set up right. If you notice on the output screen, it will tell you what they coded. So Idaho Falls, they coded as 1. Rexburg, they coded as 2. But like I said, there was an example of something where they wanted us to have a code where it was reverse. So
no, our variable is the bill
So-
because our grouping is going to be the city. We did that backwards.
Yeah, well, no, 'cause the
Or-
groups are the cities. Those are the 2. We're just trying to determine if the bills between the 2 cities are different. So that's kind of where we group, is between the 2 cities. But we want to find the mean of the bills between the 2 cities. So if you go, after you do that transform, you go to compare means under analyze. So under analyze, go to compare means and independent sample test. So the test variable will be the dentist bill.
Oh, that's what I meant. Well, see, like
Okay.
in the example, I don't know. Like I said, I kind of struggle with that anyway. But
Yeah.
like this one, because we're only dealing with 2 names, it makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so what I'm trying to describe is, say they wanted us to have Rexburg be the I don't know if this is going to confuse you, but I saw it in a different quiz, and I was confused for a second. But in order to get it right, you had to do it right.
I know what you're talking
So-
about. Right when it asked us to rename the grouping, we have the option of doing 1 or 2. I know what you're talking about. You can flip flop them
Yeah.
depending on
Yeah.
which
So when you do the transform and analyze the code, it assigns the groups a number. So right here, where you go into the independent sample t-test, it says the grouping variable, and you'll put that new name thing that we did, and then you hit define groups. You want to make sure you give the group the right code. So I had to do for group 1, I had to actually put code 2 for this other thing, and then for group 2, I had to put code 1. They had it reversed, so it was kind of keep your heads up.
tricky.
Yeah, it was kind of tricky. Okay, so they wanted the degrees of freedom, right, for that first one?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you have 37.996?
I do.
Okay.
I have 37 under that.
0.9?
Yeah, 37 point. What do they want us to round it to 3? Does it say?
Yeah.
So 37.996 for question 6.
Right.
Okay. What is the sample standard deviation for Rexburg? Okay.
Okay. So this will all determine if we put the right grouping. Do you have 206.637?
Yes.
Okay. See, and like I'm totally like surprising myself.
6.637, correct?
637.
What?
Oh,
637.
206.637.
Okay, good. Yeah. I'm making sure I heard.
Okay, and then back, and what is the test statistic?
That's the
And I
T.
got
That's the
yeah,
T-score,
T-score.
right? Okay, what did you
Yeah.
get?
negative 0.434.
Okay, that's what I got. I forget the point before the 4.
That's right. Don't forget that. Make sure you get the negative on there.
Okay, and p-value.
Okay.
That's the two-tail part, right?
Yeah, because they wanted to know the difference. So it would be that full number 666. Okay.
It's a devil number.
That's yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait, guess what? Okay, wait. I was wrong. If you go back up and look at the information, they actually wanted just they wanted to know if it was greater. So it's actually a one-tailed. So
It's only one
you take
tail and it's the
You divide it by 2, right?
yeah. So 0.333 is our p-value.
See, I never remember that. 0.666.
Yeah. That was a tricky one.
So it's 0.33.
Yeah, 0.333. There's going to be 3 3s.
Okay, so we know right now that this is higher than our alpha is 0.10, so this is greater. So we fail to reject or redirect.
This is greater, so we fail to reject. If our p-value is greater, we always fail to reject. Okay.
Okay.
So says suppose instead for a question 11 that you had used the alternative hypothesis of the difference that you mean 1 does not equal mean 2. What is the correct decision based on the evidence? And we still would fail to reject because it would have been 0.666. It would have been higher. So I would say it's B. We have insufficient evidence that the mean dentist bills between the two cities are different. Do you guys agree with me? Because if we fail to reject, we always have insufficient evidence to prove it wrong.
Okay, but sorry, this is where
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm a dummy. So because it's the alternative hypothesis, which is that it's not, then we would not have taken that the two-tailed and divided it in 2.
Okay, yeah. So what they're saying is we want to know the difference between the two rather than is one greater or less than. So you would use both sides of the tails. So it's a two-tailed because we just want to know if it's either both, one or the other, rather than just one.
Okay.
So then use the full p-value, which would have been 0.666, which was still greater than the level of significance. So then we fail to reject the null hypothesis. And so with question 11, I would say the answer is B. We have insufficient evidence that the mean dentist bills between the two cities are different. Because that's what we were trying to find out, is if they were different. And the
Gotcha.
null.
Agree.
Okay. For the next 6 question, use the data file freshman dinner something. Freshman dinner. Okay. Opening that up.
Okay.
All right, come on, computer. Open,
So-
open.
Once again, we have like a value column and then a column with two variables,
Okay.
which two states, Utah versus Colorado. So the variable that we're renaming is the one that has two, right?
It would be the states, yeah.
State.
So
Okay.
let's see what they ask us. It says this data represents the number of times freshman students from Utah and Colorado cook their own dinner a month. Let mean 1 represent the number of times a month that Colorado. Okay. And then mean 2 is Utah students. Okay. You suspect that freshmen from Utah cook dinner for themselves a different number of times than freshmen from Colorado. Perform a hypothesis test to determine if your suspicion is correct. The null hypothesis is mean 1 equals mean 2, level of significance 0.5. What's the appropriate alternative hypothesis?
Okay.
That P,
So
Okay,
they
this is-
assigned, when I did the automatic, I see that Utah was assigned to 2 and Colorado. So, but you when you were reading it, it specifically said which one they wanted to be which, right?
It did, but that actually fits because it says Colorado was assigned 1, Utah is assigned 2.
so you
Okay.
want to know that P1 is greater than P2.
Yeah. What?
So
Say that again.
Wait.
So the null hypothesis, they're asking us on question 12 what the appropriate alternative hypothesis. If I'm looking at the question, it says you suspect that freshmen from Utah cook dinner for themselves a different number. So anytime I see that different number, it didn't specify greater or less. And so
It's just
I
the
put-
line through it.
Colorado is number 1.
yeah, it's not equal to. Group 1 is not equal to group 2. Okay. So question 13, we got to go find that question, that's test,
So what was the
that
answer in
test.
12?
Yeah, sorry, let me.
So what did you get it for answer for 12?
So I left it as Colorado is 1 and Utah 2. Is that right? Or do I need to switch them?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
So is it P1 is not equal to P2?
Say that one more time. You're kind of breaking up a little bit.
Is P1 not equal to P2 then? Or is P1 less than P2?
It says greater, didn't it?
Different. It said different. So it's both sides. Okay. So did you guys have freshmen as your variable?
Yes.
Okay, I was looking at it going, what does that have to do with anything? Okay. All right. So I finally did it. All right. So they wanted to know what the test statistic was.
That's the T-score, right?
Yeah.
I got a negative 0.845.
Yep. That's what I got.
Oh, wait a minute. The question 12 is what is the oh, that's what you guys were discussing. So you went with
Yeah.
B with the not.
Yeah. The not equal to.
I thought you said naughty.
those,
Sorry. Okay, so
those freshmen are naughty.
they are. That's why how they got that that freshman 40. Okay, so question 13 is that negative 0.845,
Yeah, that's our
Okay.
T-score, or test statistic.
and then the p-value is the two-tailed, right?
Yeah, because we want to know the difference.
So it's we use the whole number, right?
Yep. Yep.
0.410.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
Which is
And
what's our alpha?
it's
0.05.
0.05. Yeah.
So we're way above that. So I still don't remember.
P-values. If p-value is greater, then we fail to reject.
Fail. Larger is fail. Okay.
Yeah, what was the p-value? Sorry.
It was
0.410
Okay,
Yep.
because we use both sides of the.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now it wants us to go determine the confidence interval, and this is this one, and then they wanted us first to find the margin of error. So this is one of those where we just do it our way.
We just minus it, right?
Yeah, so what we do is we take the mean difference, which is down there with the t-score, right?
The negative 1.466.
Yeah. 1 Yeah.
And we
7.
minus that from each side of the 95, the lower and the upper,
Well,
right?
so yeah, so what we'll do is I gotta find where's my phone? So negative
734 minus negative 1.4667 equals. So when you minus a negative, aren't you actually really adding?
Yeah.
So is it a
Yeah.
positive 6.27?
That's what I thought, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
I use my phone and not the scientific, so it didn't understand a double negative.
Right. Sorry, let me.
Well, even when it's a double negative, isn't it a positive?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it is. So what they're saying is but this is giving us a margin of error. So if you think about it, you've got negative 1.4667, and the number I got was 3.67068 to get us up to that upper level of 2.20401. And then I'm going to take negative 5.137.34. Oh, wait,
What?
no, I'm not.
Where's
Nothing.
What?
Nothing. Ignore that. Okay, so I'm going to take negative 1.4667,
Uh-huh.
and I'm going to minus that from negative 5.13734. That's the lower bound of our confidence interval.
Uh-huh.
And it also gives me so both the numbers, when I do the math, gives me 3.67064. So that is what our margin of error is.
Did we round to the third
Yeah, it doesn't tell us, and so we automatically do it.
the 3.671.
Yeah.
And for
Exactly.
a lower bound, what did you say it was for the lower bound?
So lower bound, we were, let me tell you.
So wait a minute, because I have it on my. So what is the margin of error?
3.671.
3.71.
671.
671.
3.671.
And you got that number by minusing the negative 1.4667 from each of these the upper and the lower.
So I take negative 1.4667 and minus the lower from that, and then from the upper I take the 2.20401 and minus the negative 1.4667, which is really adding it, but so the mean is in the middle of there.
Right. It should be in the, which would mean it makes
Yeah.
sense of why I was just Because we're dealing with two negative numbers, that was just throwing me off. Sorry.
Right. No, I got it. I had to really think through it
So
myself.
our lower bound is that -5 point.
Yeah. Yeah, so they want us to
to 3, right? So
Yeah.
137.
Yep, -5.137.
-5.137.
Yep,
Uh-huh.
And that's for the lower bound, right?
Right, and then
that's lower.
the upper is 2.2.
04, right?
My thing cut off. 04. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, 2.204.
All right.
All right. So once again, we've either rocked this or.
Okay, let's see if we rocked it. I'll submit. So last time we did this, I submitted the quiz and then went and of course we got that one wrong and we fixed it, and I went back and accidentally clicked out of my quiz without recording my answers down.
Oh no.
So I had to go retake it. But
Well,
it was
you should
fine.
have been able to view your submissions.
Right. I went in and yeah, I did. I was fine, but at first I was like, crud. Okay, it looks like we did good. 100%, guys. Nice
Sweet.
job. I know, we don't have to redo it or anything.
Sweet.
We should get extra points since we don't have to.
You don't have it today?
Since we got it on the first try.
Yes.
Yes.
They should
Sweet.
count that extra points toward our homework quiz that we have to do by ourselves.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Serious.
I agree.
That's so funny.